Now, the Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS, is commemorating World Wildlife Day by naming elephants in Amboseli National Park in Kajiado County. Meanwhile, Wild Animals Protection has underscored partnership with creatives as one of the way of marshalling efforts towards alleviating cruelty and suffering meted on animals, majorly through animal trafficking. Laban Shaban now reports.
Kenya has joined the world in celebrating World Wildlife Day at both the national levels and in all conservation areas in the country. This year's theme is Partnerships for Wildlife Conservation, to honor the people who are making a difference. At the Kenya Cultural Center in Nairobi,
some of y'all trying to breed cheetahs, really sad because
creatives are performing pieces themed on wildlife protection in commemoration of this day. Animal welfare campaign organization World Animal Protection is teaming up with artists and young people in Kenya to raise awareness about wildlife protection. Edith Kabesime, the wildlife campaigns manager at World Animal Protection, explains.
Partnering with the young people and through the culture center as well as the biodiversity network, because these are really very vibrant networks. These are vibrant partnerships that we've been working this journey together for the last 4 so years.
Kabesime encourages African governments to address extractive practices for export, pets and traditional medicine. She calls for strengthening of enforcement measures to ensure countries are not used as a hub for wildlife trafficking.
Because of our broken governance systems, we cannot enforce wildlife trade laws. We cannot monitor. The enforcement agencies have low capacity, but also some of these enforcement agencies are mad with a lot of corruption. So that is why wildlife trafficking continues.
On World Wildlife Day, the world reflects on responsibility to protect the magnificent diversity of life on this planet. The head of communication for World Wildlife Protection, Lucy Wanjiku, calls for stakeholders to work together.
And one of the things that we have seen, art and culture is a great stimuli of conversations on difficult topics like animal welfare. Most often when we talk about animal welfare, people ask, how about the human welfare? But I can tell you, these are two interconnected things. We connect animal welfare and human welfare.
Areas of collaboration to protect wildlife include laws and policies formulation, security and law enforcement activities, community wildlife conservation, species conservation and management, research in wildlife conservation, and protected area habitat restoration.
I urge today that even our government should really start looking at those animals that are small but very important to the ecosystem.
A section of artists working with World Wildlife Protection and other stakeholders to campaign against cruel action against animals explain their passion towards this front.
Nafurahi sana kwamba nimeteuliwa kama mmoja wa wasanii ambao naweza pasi message ya wanyama. Unajua wanyama hawezi ongea. So hapa nje kuna wanyama wanadhulumiwa, na wanyama pia wako na feelings. Animals wako na feelings, wako na hisia. So naona tu ni bora tukiongea kwa niaba yao.
Creative industry is a docket where we can communicate whatever we want. Yes, it's up to us to decide ni content gani tunataka reach out kwa watu.
People in most of the times will say Black Life Matters, Black Life Matters. What about these animals that often the tasks are being sold in the marketplaces?
I do mostly art from waste. And being a Wildlife Day, I do believe that waste contributes in endangering our wildlife, mostly the sea, the creatures in the sea.
The clarion trumpet has been sounded to the government to move the world to protect animals and create a planet where animals live freely from cruelty and suffering. Laban Shaban, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Laban Shaban, for that exclusive report. Now we're taking